know, Andy is a guy who doesn't like to take himself too seriously. He's pretty down to earth. So while the community showed Andy his due respect for his distinguished career as Representative Gardiner, House Majority Leader Gardiner, Senator Gardiner, Senate Majority Leader Gardiner, me and a couple of his old buddies, tried to strike the right balance between respect for his office and keeping Andy, grounded. So on fishing trips, we were deferential to Andy and his titles. For example, "Hey, Representative, make sure we have enough beer on the boat." "Hey, Mr. Leader, pull up that anchor line." You didn't catch another catfish, did you, Senator? But as we got older, started raising our own families, and confronted adversity in our own lives, we couldn't help but to pay closer attention to some of Andy's achievements and his desire to improve all lives of Floridians. Too numerous to list, a few that come to mind. His little-known leadership to secure $25 million annually for bike and walking trails throughout the state of Florida. In 5 or 10 years, Florida's trail system will be the envy of the nation, and in my opinion, a skeletal system for a critical network of environmental lands. We've talked about his role in bringing the downtown UCF campus to fruition. Without Andy, the campus would be delayed at best or scrapped at worst. One of his most admirable efforts, in my opinion, was actually a failure. That effort and his desire to expand healthcare coverage to more than 800,000 of our state's most vulnerable and uninsured residents. Now, just for a moment, imagine you've just served 16 years in public office. How would you like to be remembered? How about 10 or 20 years from now? As someone who cut taxes? Someone who fought the judiciary? Maybe somebody who promoted open carry on campuses? Maybe you fought for more tax breaks for corporations? Or would you want to be remembered as someone who tried to help the most vulnerable among us? 10 years ago, my wife and I sat in the doctor's office. The doctor told us that our seemingly healthy 5-year-old daughter, Blair, had a terminal disease. She would lose her ability to talk. She would lose her ability to walk. Her body would shut down, and she would likely die before she turned 16. Do you know what else I remember about that meeting? The doctor told us, "You need to apply to the state's Persons with Disabilities list right now, today." It didn't register to me at that moment. And years later, I realized why he stressed that so much. Because then, and still today, there is a 10-year waiting list for families seeking assistance for sick and disabled children in the state of Florida. When you have a child with severe disabilities, a child who cannot attend school, a child confined to a wheelchair, must eat a special diet, 24/7 care, it drains you emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. We didn't get on that list. 10 years at the time seemed so far away. And frankly, our family was fortunate enough not to depend on the state for her care. My daughter Blair turns 15 next week. It's been 10 years since her diagnosis. She no longer walks. Her last word many years ago was rainbow. She will have a feeding tube surgically inserted next month. She hasn't been able to attend school in years. But this year, we finally received our first financial assistance from the state of Florida in the form of the Gardiner Scholarship. Passed earlier this year, the scholarship is yet another wonderful achievement of Andy's for the people of Florida who are struggling the most. While I'm happy that our family can recoup some of the monies Blair would otherwise have received as a typical student, I'm most relieved for other families to have this option, especially when their only other alternative is a 10-year waiting list. So while Andy has a laundry list of achievements that does include economic development, he was and is a pro-growth conservative. He did fight to keep taxes low. He was a protector of the Second Amendment. That's Andy's record, a record that will soon be forgotten nonetheless. But his legacies are forever. Andy's legacy will be that of a transformational leader who fought for and lost against his own political party to expand health care insurance for the poor, who made a difference and commitment to our state's faltering natural resources and put his mark on and ensured a bright future for our state's trail system and the environment. One who shared a vision and commitment for UCF campus that will forever transform downtown Orlando. And mostly as someone who fought to improve the lives and reduce the suffering of those families and children who need it the most. That will be Andy's legacy. That will be the legacy of State President Andy Gardiner. Thank you.